and welcome to a very, very, very short talk about healing tattoos. Now, there's three elements that we must master when it comes down to healing tattoos, and I'm going to walk you through them right now. The more and more that I talk about healing tattoos and bring forth that ancient and sacred knowledge that tattoos used to be used as therapeutic and rites of passage, the more that I believe that people in our industry might misuse the term. So I really want to protect what I mean by healing tattoos. I'm going to share screen, a little thing that I made, and we're just going to go through this together right now. So when it comes to a healing tattoo, three things need to have mastery, three areas you need to develop mastery in. If you have mastery in one, then I invite you to start to deepen and develop your mastery in one or the other two. So the first thing that we have to have mastery in is artistic ability. So you have to be able to draw, you have to be able to draw well. If you're doing restorative tattooing, such as areola restorative tattooing, you need to be able to create an optical illusion on paper. And if you can't draw, if you don't have the drawing fundamentals, your tattooing will reflect that. So that's one very important part. To create an optical illusion, you need to know how to create an optical illusion. The next part is technical skill set. So let's just talk about areola restorative tattooing. It's kind of my focus anyway. So the technical skill set is going to come from one, not only knowing how to apply a technically sound tattoo, but to be able to do so in damaged tissue. So to be able to implant pigment to the right layer without causing any more damage to the surface of the skin, to be able to apply a clean and consistent tattoo that will heal well and age well and retain over time. The third thing that we need to know to make this trifecta whole is trauma triage. So when I was trying to make up this little illustration, this little trifecta illustration, I thought about trauma awareness and the way that Gabor Mate teaches it. I thought about trauma informed, but really when it comes to tattooing, especially tattooing over trauma sites, it's the trauma triage that we need. So think about a triage nurse. So a triage nurse, if somebody comes in the emergency room bleeding, she'll run over and make sure that they get the bleeding stopped. If somebody's not breathing, they make sure to get the person breathing again. They deal with the problem that presents itself in the moment. Sorry about the ding, the reminder. The problem that presents itself in the moment, the trauma, the triage nurse is going to deal with. So when we're tattooing, the reason that I use the term trauma triage is because if the person that we're tattooing starts to have a stress response from a trauma trigger, we have to deal with the stress response. So maybe we might be the first person that's hunched over them with a mask on and maybe a headlamp and gloves, and maybe we have body PPE on, and they're reclined in the area very much like they were when they had the surgery, and they've got the overhead lights and their subconscious might spin out into feeling threatened by us. Even though they know consciously that we're not a threat to them, the subconscious may go through an activated stress response, a trigger. So we have to have deepened awareness in all three of these areas in order to provide a healing experience. And when we don't have a deepened awareness and understanding in one of the areas, some of the following can happen. So let's say you can draw like a mofo. You've been tattooing most of your life and you're like, I've got the drawing down. You can draw realism. That's awesome. And you've been tattooing for so long, you know how to get the pigment where it needs to go. You can create a soft edge and a hard edge and texture and depth, and you got all of that stuff done. Your tattooing is good, but you don't have the trauma awareness. So when the person becomes activated, if the person becomes activated by the tattoo process, not everybody will, but the ones that will become activated or do get activated, we need to be able to care for them responsibly and ethically. So if you do a beautiful tattoo, it doesn't matter how good the tattoo is. If you diminish or minimize their experience, their emotional experience, the tattoo may become an anchor to them feeling diminished and minimized. So if they start to emote and you tell them, oh, don't worry, you look great, or they maybe start to go into how they feel about themselves sexually and how it made them feel when their husband left them, and you say something like, oh, don't worry, you never needed him anyway, screw that guy. Well, I'm here to say they may have needed their husband at that time. They may have really needed their husband at that time, going through breast cancer, and their husband leaves. Maybe he started cheating on them with a woman who didn't go through breast cancer, and you're telling them that they didn't need him anyway, could be very harmful to their experience. And now the tattoo is going to remind them of that harm, no matter how good it is. So that's one way that we can make things go sideways if we're missing one element of this trifecta. Another way that we can make it go sideways is if you have a great technical skill set, you can put in an awesome tattoo, you know how to put a tattoo in, the pigment in through scar tissue, it heals well, it ages well, it retains well, you know how to take care of them if a trauma trigger arises, but it doesn't look realistic, then you could cause emotional harm. So how is that person going to feel about their body when they look in the mirror? They got this tattoo that's well executed. You took great care of them emotionally because you understand what they've been through, but it looks like a bingo dauber, some of them say, or a piece of pepperoni is another thing that I've heard them say. Are you going to inspire them connecting with their sexuality in a way that they need to heal and move on for good? Maybe not. The other way that we can cause problems here is if you draw great, you've created an awesome optical illusion, you got the trauma triage down, you help them move through whatever it was that was stopping them from feeling good about their body, but you lack the technical skill set to put that tattoo in, to put that design well on scar tissue, then what can go wrong there? Damage to the skin. Maybe you destroy the skin. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it. Where people just don't know how to tattoo that skin. Maybe they use a small needle grouping in the type of skin that needs a big needle grouping. Or maybe they went a little bit too shallow. So in order to fix it, they went over it again. And then they tore up the top layer of skin and created even more scar tissue. So these are the three elements that if we want to be healing tattoo artists, we want to help people heal with our skill set, being a tattooist and being able to bring a sense of wholeness back into these people's lives, our clients' lives. All of these three things have to be developed. Now, that being said, it's my job and duty and my life's purpose and mission to help tattooists develop these three things. So I am here. The reason that I exist is to help tattooists be great. The reason that I've been activated on this mission is because I've received botched nipple tattoos over my own mastectomy. And so I know firsthand. I know firsthand what the client needs. I've been to art school. I got the art thing down. I've been drawing since I was a child. I got the art thing down. I've been tattooing since 1998 or 99. I've been tattooing scar tissue. I started tattooing in early 1996, started tattooing scars in late 98 or early 99. And I've learned by making a lot of mistakes that how scar tissue needs to be healed by learning what can go wrong the hard way and causing harm to people that I really didn't want to cause harm to. This is part of my way of making it up to them. If I can't make it up to them directly, then I'm going to help other tattooists from making the same mistakes that I made. And the trauma of losing my breasts and of having botched nipple tattoos, which is worse than having no nipple tattoos. And I've had both of those experiences and I didn't like either of them, but it taught me the emotional turmoil that my clients feel. And because I've learned all of those three elements so thoroughly, I decided that the best way for me to heal from the effects of losing my breasts were to help other tattooists learn them as well. So I have a healing tattoo artist trifecta where I'm going to teach you how to draw, and I'm going to teach you more about scar tissue, which you can't learn online, but you can learn a lot about it online. I'm going to be offering this. This is going to be starting on June 19th. We're going to do an early class on Mondays and on Wednesdays. So on Mondays, we're going to be doing tattooing scars. On Wednesdays, we're going to be doing hyperrealism. And then you also get a third course called healing tattoos that you can do on your own time after you're done those. We're going to have an 11 a.m. call time for Mondays and Wednesdays and a 5 p.m. Pacific time call time for Mondays and Wednesdays. And also, I'm going to throw in a masterclass replay of a 2-day masterclass that I did a year and a half ago with Nicole Rizzuto, who is a 12-year surgical tech and a restorative tattooist. She's going to teach you on day one what the person goes through, what the body goes through, how it affects your tattooing. And on day two, I'm going to teach you, now that you know what the body went through, this is how the woman experienced that, how she may have taken that experience and how she may have processed it or not processed that experience. So I'll put the link in the description or in the first comment of this. And please join me if you feel called to. I invite anybody who is meant to collaborate with me. And if you don't feel called to collaborate with me directly in this live mentorship program, where I'm going to be mentoring you twice a week for an 8-week period, then I just invite you to pay attention as you're going through your tattoo days on which of those areas that you're strong in, and maybe which of those areas need a little bit of work. You can buy any of those courses on their own. You don't have to do all three of them, and you don't have to do them live either. You can buy them on their own at any time, or you can just start to hone in your awareness and be like, maybe my drawing can be a little bit better, because every hour you spend drawing, you're going to get a return on investment. That's the beautiful thing about the work that we do. And we love a challenge, or we wouldn't have chosen this as a career. And for those of you who feel called to take my live mentorship, I look forward to working with you. Have a great day, everybody.